Grief. It's a powerful force. It's one that can change the way we see the world. It can change how we feel, and it could change the way we interact with the unknown. Could it also serve us as a bridge into the paranormal? When we lose someone that we love, somebody that we hold dear, it shakes our reality. It reminds us of our own mortality, and it plunges us into a state of emotional vulnerability. We start looking for comfort, we start searching for reasoning, for meanings, and for new connections possibly. But what if in these moments we are more open to otherworldly encounters because of emotion? Beardos, widows, balls and girls, how are you all doing? Now, with all of that being said in the introduction, there's something that I need to discuss again. I've only ever done this once before, but I'm annoyed. The ITC spirit channels. If you've got your SB whatever spirit box with your aerial and it's cycling and then you get a word and it's normally a song or a radio station or a news broadcast. Whilst I don't believe in that, it's not causing harm. It's misunderstanding from a lot of people's point of view, or they blinkered to the reality, the spirit box that no matter which way it scrambles with an aerial attached, it's picking up radio stations and they're your ghostly voices. But that's not dangerous. That's not as dangerous or egregious. Sometimes that falls into the realm of people's beliefs. But this, I was asked about this on a live, what do I think of ITC spirit box sessions, and I opened up Hope Paranormal. No, I opened up Huff Paranormal first, and he seems to have knocked the celebrity stuff on the head. Good. So then we went to look at the next, and then we went to look at the next alleged bullshitter. And when I opened it, I was annoyed by this. I think everybody knows who Madeleine McCann is, what the story is, because it's still ongoing all of these years later. But Hope Paranormal, Mr. Light, Life and I Speak Through God, is doing a spirit box session to talk to Madeleine McCann. We don't know if Madeleine McCann is in this mortal world or not. Without me sounding horrible, if she's not, this could be far scarier than if she's no longer with us. Rings, and you know, it's a scary, scary thought. And as a father, it's like a nightmare. Now, my kids are older. They're not kids anymore, but you don't spend all that time bringing up your kids to bring them into adulthood and then forget that they were kids and they were vulnerable. And while I've got my own thought process and my own opinions on the McCanns, I'm not getting into that here. River Phoenix spirit box. Now, River Phoenix has been gone for quite some time. It's a bit like, ooh, I don't know. But then if you go on a paranormal investigation and they're like, yeah, the ghost of Harold lives here. He died in 1997. It's like, me as a paranormal investigator, like, I wonder if I'm going to upset somebody here by doing that. And that is why in certain places we've gone, I once investigated a care home and we had a name of somebody that fell out of the window. And it was, you know, only 15 years ago. So whilst we called out to that person, whilst we tried to communicate with that person because the care home was shut down over it, I blanked that person's name out of the video. You only ever hear me referring to the lady that fell out of the window. You don't hear me refer to her by name, out of respect for the family. But, you know, he's been passed a while as River Phoenix. Sad death. It's not that egregious, I suppose. I don't like it, but there we are. Matthew Perry. Chandler Bing from Friends. The funniest character in Friends, if you ask me. I'm not a Friends fan, but I watched the occasional episode when I went around people's houses because that show was huge. And, yeah, I always quite related to him, being the sarcastic outcast of the group, or at least that's the way I saw him. And yeah, great actor. I've seen him in a few movies as well, and he was pretty decent. So that, you know, distasteful. James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, the father of Luke Skywalker, the father of Eddie Murphy, the father of Simba. He's Mufasa. You know, a very powerful voice, a very powerful actor. Somebody that has transcended generations. Everybody knows who James Earl Jones is, and you have seen his work at some point. And he passes away, and Hope does a video on him, speaking to him through a spirit box. 6 days ago, Liam Payne from One Direction passed away. I'm not a fan of pop music. I don't listen to pop music. I couldn't even tell you if I actually know a One Direction song. However, he's a young man with family, with friends, and like Matthew Perry, like River Phoenix, like James Earl Jones, a massive fan base. And when your idols or the people that you love on film, on camera, in the music industry are taken from you, the grief can be quite real. For example, while I may not grieve for Liam Payne, I feel bad for him. I mean, he was a young lad that worked his ass off. Let's make no bones about it. When I was a kid, Kurt Cobain died. But I was very young and just into Nirvana, so it wasn't like that devastating for me. It was upsetting to a degree, but I wasn't as big a Nirvana fan as I later become because I was too young for it. There were other deaths that did hit me quite hard. People that I respected, and in some cases people I met. Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. I was a huge Pantera fan. Not so much anymore. I don't want to see them without the Abbott brothers. And Phil Anselmo has done and said some really shady shit over the years. I don't want to support that band anymore. But I was a massive fan, and Dimebag's death, you know, that did upset me. The Rev from Avenged Sevenfold. At one point when metalcore was sort of on the rise, the Rev's drumming style influenced just about every drummer I was ever in a band with. Avenged Sevenfold influenced me. I've got an Avenged Sevenfold tattoo on my arm. And while I might not love the band as much as I once did, the Rev's passing was horrible. It was very, very sad for the fan base. It was sad for the band. It's something that's still felt by a lot of people. The skull that I've got on my hand there, I nearly had this done years ago, but with the Rev skull and the wings on it. Another one was Prince. I know, I'm a metalhead. How can you like Prince if you're a metalhead? Well, he's one of the greatest songwriters of all time, one of the most underrated guitarists of all time, one of the best vocalists of all time, and you have heard songs by Prince that you don't know were Prince songs. Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor, that was Prince. Some of Lady Gaga's big hits, they were Prince. Now, I've lost people in my real life, real world, people that I've known for a long, long time. There's always this what if with grief, you know, the same with Bray Wyatt. I hope they've gone somewhere better. I hope they're with their family. I hope. And then you got this prick. Liam Payne dies 6 days ago. 5 days ago, he does a spirit box session. Now, a lot of people think that him and Huff and all the others that do this thing have some sort of attachment to God or some attachment to the other world or attachment to the next life, and they don't. What they have is sampled sounds most of the time from interviews. This is why they do famous people. They can clip words, phrases from from interviews, jumble them up a bit, throw in some overlays of reverb, throw a bit of echo in there, make it sound a bit ghosty, speed it up, slow it down, all of that to make it still sound like their voice, kind of, but unrecognisable from the interviews. And I can't remember who did it, but somebody showed a clip of Huff Paranormal speaking to somebody that was deceased, and then playing the clip alongside it that was literally taken from an interview. There was a little bit of reverb on it, I think. It was literally just that. There was another clip I saw where he was talking to somebody that would passed, but the clip he used wasn't from that person. It was from somebody still alive in an interview. But reverb and echo, try and make it sound like a ghosty voice. Now, whilst I'm not a fan of One Direction, I can understand the fan base's grief. It's a much younger audience than what I am. Alright, a lot of their fans are now probably in their 20s, like my daughter. But this grief is going to be every bit as real to them as when Dimebag Darrell passed for me. Dimebag Darrell was somebody that I was fortunate enough to meet at Ozfest in Milton Keynes Bowl. He was a very, very nice guy. And when they pass, there is this feeling of emptiness. It's not quite on the level of losing, a very close family member, but you feel that. And then, as I said, you hope. And that's probably why this clown has named his channel, Hope Paranormal. So let's see what he says about his channel here in the description, shall we? A channel focused on real spirit communication and afterlife research. Everything shown on this channel is 100% real and will always be. Hope stands for Helpers of Paranormal Entities, and will always be dedicated to only helping souls wherever possible, but truthfully showing all evidence that is captured. Watch as Joshua Louis conducts... Is that Louis or Lewis? Conducts real spirit sessions on location in cemeteries, houses, and even his own residence. So this is the presenter. There's a spirit box, his ITC thing. There's a laptop plugged into the side of it. And there are other videos of many of these guys that you will see behind the scenes. There's got to be one here that I've watched of this channel. So it's all based in truth and fact. And is it fuck? It is a load of bullshit, and it is designed to feed off the fan base's grief, off One Direction's grief, off Star Wars fans' grief, off Coming to America fans' grief, of the Lion King fans' grief, Friends fans, or whatever, One Direction. Richard Simmons is also featured on this list. Shannon Doherty is also on this. George Michael, but a long time after he's gone. Who else we got that we recognise here that's quite recent? I mean, Princess Diana's always guaranteed to get you high views. Michael Jackson, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Wait, he's faked talking to fake psychic mediums? Wow. Whitney Houston, Freddie Mercury. This isn't about love. This isn't about hope. This isn't about grief. This isn't about anything helping anyone, anything, any entity. This is greed. This is watching news headlines to see what is trending. This is watching TikTok. This is watching X or whatever you want. So 6 days ago, Liam Payne died. 5 days ago, that video came out. Take into account that he's going to set his gadgets up, which is basically a guitar amp with guitar pedals behind it and a laptop plugged into it. So you can do whatever the hell you want and make it sound however you want with that. I've probably got all the gear here to do one of these myself. Maybe at some point I will, just to show how bullshit this is. Because this is the most disgusting thing on the platform that I'm aware of, that I've been asked to look at. So Liam passes, sets up his guitar pedals, his amps and his laptop and all the rest of it. He records his session and then he edits his session, and that video comes out the next day. The next day. All this guy does is look at what's trending with celebrity deaths and celebrity intrigue. For example, I'll guarantee you a month ago when he did his Madeleine McCann spirit box, it's because it was in the news again. And it was because a lady came forward claiming to be Madeleine for the second or third time. I think they've proved that she's not, and she's saying it's some sort of hoax and or it's some sort of conspiracy theory. I don't know. I don't want to follow it. That's why he did that. This isn't grief. This isn't helping somebody. This is looking at what's trending, what's making the news, and going, I can buy stuff with this. Ooh, 84k views off Liam. 95 off Madeleine. 56 off Shannon. Richard Simmons only got me 17. I'm not going to cover him again. Matthew Perry, 38k. Ooh, that did well. Right, River Phoenix may not do so well, so let's stick Matthew Perry in the thumbnail with him, because people are still upset about it. This is trash. Absolute trash. Everything I accuse the fakers of doing, this is that times 10. This is playing on people's grief. This is showing zero respect to the fan base. Worse than that, it is showing zero respect to the families of these people. I mean, is he asking them? Because I could imagine being the father of, you know, a 20-something lad that's just gone on holiday, or whatever he was doing. Was it an accident? Did he jump? We don't know. But you imagine ringing the family that day, because you would have had to get your video out for the day after. Hello there, Mr. and Mrs. Payne. My name is Asshole Hope, and I would like to make contact with your recently deceased son. Do you know what that reaction to that phone call is going to be? Wailing, screaming, crying, or potentially death threats. Because if it was me, I'd be hunting the motherfucker down. This content has no place on the platform for me. I despise this. I don't know any of the debunkers that don't feel the same way as me. And there are a few paranormal channels that feel the same way as I do, where they're like, this is fucking disgusting. You have to, as a paranormal investigator, you have to have some care and some compassion. And I'm not talking about the guys that are kicking doors open and pointing their finger in front of the camera while their friend creates a shadow in the background. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the guys that go out, do investigations, look at the history, and like, ooh, I wonder how we can do this sensitively because of what occurred at this location. You get the guys that will go to the same location, be less respectful, but it's nowhere near as egregious as this. This is... I don't understand how YouTube allow this to happen. Well, I do. It's called ad revenue, but it's vile. This stuff is absolutely vile. Then we got this clown. This guy has things coming through his spirit box, and then he has the face of James Earl Jones there. Cody ITC. I bet he hasn't been disgusting enough to cover Liam Payne just after he... Yes, he did. Did the exact same thing with James Earl Jones, Shannon Doherty, Richard Simmons. You could tell when it's been a slow week for celebrity deaths because they start hitting up people like Bruce Lee and John Lennon. But it looks like Huff has maybe learnt a bit of a lesson here. I mean, he did a video 6 days ago. He drowned after heartbreak. But he's using this app that has been pulled apart by everyone. But he doesn't seem to be covering the celebrities anymore. Maybe he's learned. Maybe what the debunkers were saying when he did his disgusting stuff about Bray Wyatt. So it looks like the last one he did at the time of death was Matthew Perry. So maybe he's learned a lesson, because that video did okay for him. This guy has over 1.5 million subscribers. And clearly the magic's wore off with him, because his views don't even sit where my views do. And I hope this is the beginning of the end of these sickos, because that's what they are. They are sickos. They are leeching off grief, audience grief and all the rest of it. They are leeching off audience grief, or fan base's grief, and they are completely dismissing families and loved ones' grief. None of these family members want to see this shit on the internet, can put money on it. Now, if somebody very close to me passed, and one of these clowns did this shit the next day, here's what I would do. I would approach YouTube directly, and I would get that video taken down. It's immoral for a start. Much like the AI stuff now, you have to declare AI when you upload it. You have to mark it as saying, this makes situations, or makes it look like people have said things that they have not. Now, I've relisted some of my content on this, because I've obviously done fake interviews where I've twisted what people have said and things for comedic value. It's labelled as comedy, and these people are alive. But I've actually changed my content to say, yeah, this is doctored. These guys are not facing that, because it's not AI. This isn't an argument between, like the AI argument. It's stealing other people's work, and people are not getting royalties from it. Something that I was quite unaware of, and I still don't know how I feel about it. I used to be an artist, and if somebody wants to take my work and throw it into AI, have at it. I don't care. But not everyone's going to feel the same as me, so I understand why people are annoyed by AI. This isn't like that. This is taking people's voices, their actual voices from interviews, and conversing with those voices like you are talking to the dead. And it is fucking outrageous that this is allowed on the platform. I was asked about this on a live stream not so long ago, and I got quite emotional about it, because there's been an anniversary of something that hit me very hard in my life recently, and all of this stuff sort of came to the forefront, and yeah, there was a negative reaction from me. Imagine if Matthew Perry's mum, dad, brother, sister, kids, I don't know if he had kids, but his kids, imagine if any of those go on YouTube, and because he's trending, one of these dickhead comes up, and they open it up, there's their son's voice coming out one of these spirit boxes, and for a split second it's like, oh my god, I can speak to my son. I need to contact this person immediately. I want to speak to my son. But then they do a little bit of digging, and they're like, hang on, that phrase was from this interview, because we watched everything and support everything our son, brother, sister, dad did. And then that false hope that they took on board has been ripped away from them, and they're back exactly where they... And not only are they back to where they were when the initial grief landed, it's just got that much worse, because false hope was given to them. And as many people can jump up and down and scream and shout and rant and rave and post horrible shit about the debunking community and debunking the debunkers, because that A1 guy gets some better arguments other than, I like that channel, the debunkers are wrong. It's not a good argument. In my opinion, these channels are the worst of the worst. They are the grifters of the paranormal. They are leeches for grief. They have no care, compassion, or anything. They speak in these soft tones to make them feel all holier than thou. Holier than thou. May I speak very soft so you trust me? May I speak very soft so you think I'm on a different plane? So I can speak to God. These assholes piss, shit, burp, fart, and throw up like the rest of us. They're human beings. They will have body odor. They will have athlete's foot. They scratch their balls when no one's looking. They pick their nose when no one is looking. They probably don't even talk anything like they do in these videos where they're trying to lure you in through your grief. Light and life and love, and look at me on my existing plane. I can speak to the dead.
Oi, Margaret! Fucking doorbell's ringing. Innit, bruv?
I can just imagine it. I can just imagine it. These guys, it would be funny what these are doing if it wasn't so egregious. It's obvious to most people what these guys are doing, taking clips of interviews, sample sounds, running it through guitar pedals, turn a couple of knobs. That way, when you try to sample the sound and search for it, it won't come up without a lot of cleaning up of the original audio. It's not because the spirits are struggling to talk to them, it's because these clowns don't want you finding exactly where those sentences, phrases and words have come from. Absolutely disgusting. And it looks like these channels are on the decline massively. You know, a channel with over 1.5 million subscribers down to 14k views. I mean, it's nothing more than he deserves. Cody ITC has 424k subscribers. Decent. He's doing a lot better than Huff Paranormal. But James Earl Jones, nobody watched that. 10k, 50k. For a channel the size of what he is, his videos don't do that well. There's the odd flash in the pan, but for the most part, this channel isn't what it once was. And you got Hope Paranormal, 163k subscribers. Apart from when he catches lightning in a bottle because of deaths, he ain't doing well. His average views look to be less than what mine are for the channel that is nowhere near the size of his. And I hope that trend continues. If YouTube won't take these channels down, it's up to the audiences to just stop watching. Because it's absolutely disgusting, vile, horrible, nasty, dirty content. As well as all of those things, it's fucking lazy. They have an initial outlay of cash to buy the box. They have the initial outlay for some cables and guitar pedals and stuff. Because in the background of all these guys' videos, there's guitar pedals behind what you're looking at. A lot of them have shown them, and they're like, this is how we had some of this sound, that sound. And you're like, yeah, you've just shown us how you faked it all, idiot. It's lazy. This is lazier than people faking stuff in their own house. Because, you know, at least they've got to edit things in and somewhat script and learn new editing tricks. This shit, they just do their same crap week in, week out. And then sometimes they'll miss a couple of weeks, but then a celebrity dies and they are back with a vengeance. Absolutely disgusting. I don't think that these channels should have a place on this or any other platform, to be honest. This is every bit as egregious as the psychic medium down in the local bingo hall charging people 30 quid whilst putting plants in the audience and paid actors in the audience and cold reading and all that nasty, horrible shit. Because anyone that's paying for a ticket to go to a community centre to watch a psychic medium, they're there because they've lost someone. They ain't there to be entertained, and these people are claiming to be entertainers. No, you're not. You're fucking scumbags. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Try not to leave any hateful comments, but honestly, fuck these guys. Much love to you all. Beardo out.